Hello, my name is Kevin Douglas Berg. This is What Was I Saying, blog KDB. I'm here to provoke thought and move humanity just a little bit. This is our fourth segment of How We Got Here. Quotes from Putin in his own words, of our potential path to a start of a World War III. And I'll rehash a little bit of the last episode. We already had foreign influence. We had foreign influence. We had NATO expanding. Putin worried about NATO taking over the town that has their base of their naval stations and dropping their ships there. And let me get a quick. Let me see what else we talked about. He wasn't happy with our backing of their anti-constitutional coup in Ukraine. Yeah. Still thinks of being a brotherhood with Ukrainians. They're one and the same, Russians and Ukrainians. And we've already, Western powers, the United States, and nations, NATO, European bloc, already interfered with what's going on in Ukraine. So now we're 2016, boys and girls. January. Lenin said the Soviet Union, should be formed on the basis of full equality and the possibility of seceding from the Union. I may have gotten the words wrong, but that was the idea. That was the time bomb that was planted under the structure of our statehood. Not only did they set the borders for ethnic groups of multinational essential utilitarian state, the borders were also established arbitrarily without much reason. Thus, why did they make Donbass part of Ukraine? The reason was to raise the share of the proletariat there, to ensure greater social support. Pure nonsense, as you see. And this is not only the only example. There are many others. Remarks at Russian Popular Front Forum. Well, we know how he feels about the Donbass now. 2017, February. We see the recent flare-up in southeastern Ukraine. This escalation pursues a clear aim of preventing the Minsk agreements from going ahead. The current Ukrainian authorities are obviously not seeking a peaceful solution to this very complex problem and have decided to opt for the use of force instead. What is more, they speak openly about organizing sabotage and terrorism, particularly in Russia. Obviously, this is a matter of great concern. These events and circumstances I have mentioned required our security and intelligence services, especially the Federal Security Service, to concentrate. I think it's like our FBI, to concentrate their utmost attention and effort on the paramount task of fighting terrorism. Yeah. Federal Security Service Board meeting, Kremlin. That was 2017. Okay. 2017, June. In response to a Ukrainian man who asked why Russia has abandoned Ukraine. We are cautious about giving you excessive public support, which could actually harm you. We try not to interfere in Ukraine's domestic affairs. Transcript of an annual call-in show in Kremlin. Now we're at 2018, March. Why did the United States encourage a government coup in Ukraine? Why did you do that? The U.S. directly acknowledged spending billions of dollars to this end. This was openly acknowledged by U.S. officials. Why do they support government coups and armed fighting in other countries? Why has the U.S. deployed missile systems along our borders? Listen, Russia and the U.S. should sit down and talk it over in order to get things straight. 2018, folks. 6 years ago. Actually, it's March So 6 April, May, June. 6 years and 3 months ago. Transcript on NBC interview, Kremlin. 2019, May. It is our duty to safeguard the truth about the landmark episodes from our shared past. Told you. Always goes back to old Mother Russia. And counter all attempts to sow inter-ethnic strife or revive fascist ideology. I strongly believe that the peoples of Russia and Ukraine should cherish and be mindful of the traditions of brotherly friendship and mutual assistance inherited from our fathers and grandfathers. These values paved the way to the glorious victory. Congratulations to great Patriot War veterans and the people of Ukraine. July 2019. I believe that Russians and Ukrainians are actually one people. Again, one people. One nation, in fact. When these lands that are now the core of Ukraine joined Russia, nobody thought themselves to be anything but Russians because it was all based on religious affiliation. They were all Orthodox and they considered themselves Russians. I understand very well that over time the identity of this part of Russia crystallized. And people have the right to determine their identity. But later this factor was used to throw into imbalance the Russian Empire. But in fact, this is the same world sharing the same history, the same religion, traditions, and a wide range of ties, close family ties among them. Transcript of interview with Oliver Stone. Today, the Ukrainian economy is completely destroyed because it has lost the Russian market and, most importantly, cooperation in the industry. Nobody needs Ukraine industrial goods on Western markets. And that goes for agriculture, too. Very few goods are purchased. Transcript of interview with Oliver Stone. February 2020. As I've repeatedly said, I believe that Russians and Ukrainians are the same people. To talk about today or tomorrow, we need to know the history. Need to know who we are, where we come from, what unites us. Interview with the TASS press agency in Kremlin. Ukrainian leaders are those who got power, pursued their self-interests. And what were they? It was not even to earn more by robbing Ukrainian people, but to retain what has been plundered before. This was the main objective. Where is the money in foreign banks? What do they need to do for this? Show that they serve those who have this money. Hence, the only thing that they sell is Russophobia. Because some like dividing Ukraine and Russia. They believe it's a very important mission because any integration of Russia and Ukraine along with their capabilities and competitive advantages would lead to the emergence of a global rival for Europe and the world. No one wants it. That's why they'll do anything to pull us apart. Interview with TASS again. Kremlin, April 2021. You could think whatever you like or say, Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych or Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. I repeat, you can like or dislike them, including Yanukovych, who almost got killed too, and removed from power via an armed coup. You can have your own opinion of President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko's policy, but the practice of staging coups d'etats and planning political assassinations, including those of high-ranking officials, well, this goes too far. Address the Federal Assembly, April 2021. Furthermore, April 2021. This is what's actually happening. First of all, we are facing the creation of climate of fear in Ukrainian society, aggressive rhetoric, indulging neo-Nazis, and militarizing the country. Along with that, we're witnessing not just the complete dependence, but direct external control, including the supervision of the Ukrainian authorities, security services, and armed forces by foreign advisors, military development of the territory of Ukraine, and deployment of NATO infrastructure. Article by Putin on the historical unity of Russians and Ukrainians. Kremlin. 2021 again. Russia is open to dialogue with Ukraine and ready to discuss the most complex issues, but it's important for us to understand that our partner is defending its national interests but not serving someone else's. And it is not a tool in someone else's hands to fight against us. Our kinship has been transmitted from generation to generation. It is in the hearts and the memory of people living in modern Russia and Ukraine, in the blood ties that unite millions of our families. Together, we have always been and will be many times stronger and more successful, for we are one people. Article by Putin on the historical unity of Russians and Ukrainians. February 2022. Kiev is not complying with the Minsk agreements, and in particular, is strongly opposed to direct dialogue with Donetsk and Lugansk. Human rights are massively and systematically violated in Ukraine, and discrimination against the Russian-speaking population is being fixed. Codified it at the logistical... Hey! Squeaks. Legislative level. Sorry. News conference following Russian Belarusian talks. Again, as I've said many times before, if Russia faces the threat of Ukraine being accepted in the North Atlantic Alliance, NATO, the threat against our country will increase because of Article 5, which clearly states that countries in alliance must fight on the side of the co-member in the event of an aggression against it. But since nobody recognized the will expressed by the people of Crimea and Sevastopol, so that was the city that they want to take over. And Ukraine continues to insist that it is Ukrainian territory. There is a real threat. They will try to take back the territory they believe is theirs using military force. And they do not say this in their documents, obviously. Then the entire North Atlantic Alliance would have to get involved. Security Council meeting Kremlin. He's always one step ahead. I do one more quote and we'll sum this up. Referring to the unverified claims of genocide against Russian speakers in southeastern Ukraine. The so-called civilized world, which our Western colleagues proclaim themselves the only representatives of, prefer not to see this as if the horror and genocide which almost 4 million people are facing do not exist. But they do exist, and only because these people do not agree with the West-supported coup in Ukraine in 2014 and oppose the transition towards the Neanderthal and aggressive nationalism and neo-Nazism that have been elevated in Ukraine to the rank of national policy. Let me see, I do one more. I think I do one more. Nope. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. We're going to stop 2022. Where are we? We're already all over them. NATO's already all over them. We've completely corrupted any kind of whatever they had going on without us. There's a lot of money in Ukraine now at this time. Unfortunately. A lot of money. I'll just leave it at that. They definitely want it destroyed still. I'll leave it at that as well. He's in a rock and a hard place. He knows it. He already knows it. And this is 2022, folks. This is 2022. Now look at everything we've done. Does anything look like that was to de-escalate the situation? I'm going to say fuck no. And that's why I think this has already been planned. And we're just waiting for the couple more plays. Strategical, nuclear, I don't know. EMP, combination of both. North Korea, China takes Taiwan. I don't know. But there is no coincidences. There is no happenstance. There are definites, there are objectives. There are initiatives, there are narratives. There are agenda pushes. All the above. And we don't even know what it is. but it could involve half or more than half of the world's population to go by. My name's Kevin Berg. This is What Was I Saying, Blog KDB. This was our 4th edition of How We Got Here. In Putin's quotes, in Putin's own words, our possible path to World War III. My name's Kevin Berg. Let's pray this out. Pray for you, pray for me, pray for world peace. Pray for those coming and going. Pray for those on a plane, train, automobile. Pray for everybody that has served, is serving, post-serving, fighting with PTSD. Pray for all medical staff, all first responders. Anybody in the hospital want a better day. Pray for all people in uniform, all policemen, policewomen, firefighters and firemen, firewomen, rescue and first responders. Pray for you and me, world peace. Pray for those that do not have the necessities to live. Tomorrow is a better day. Pray they will have the food, they will have the shelter, they will have the clothing, they will have facilities to wash and bathe, and a place to stay, and tomorrow is a better world than it is today. We are more compassionate tomorrow than we are today. My name is Kevin Berg. I'm here to provoke thought, moving me forward. Thank you, folks. Kevin out.